Good evening and welcome to the Whisky Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief, and tonight we are talking about a Glenallachie 15-year-old. Now, sometimes I wonder to myself, this all smells and tastes so familiar. It is like deja vu with some of the whiskies. It's like the same taste, the same everything. Maybe they change the label, maybe they just slap an age statement on it, and it feels like I've tasted this before. I need a challenge. I need something that gives me more. I want always more, and I think it's a little bit of a problem for a lot of whiskey drinkers. We keep on looking for more, and of course, it's not a good situation. It's bloody expensive hobby, and we are always chasing something that challenge our nose, challenge our palate, and I think this one is the whiskey that I'm talking about. It's does it challenge my palate? Does it challenge the nose? And I'm not so sure. Now, I had a wee bit of a sample last night, and I started doing some notes on this whiskey, and I am a big fan. You can go look on my channel. I have done numerous videos on Glenallachie, and I haven't found one that is not really nice, that I didn't enjoy, but it feels like it's a little bit, it just blends the one into the other one. And I thought myself, there is a sample available, the 15-year-old, 46% ABV. I looked through the list of Glenallachies that I've tasted over the years, and of course, I couldn't believe that I have never tried the 15-year-old, so I thought it is a time. Maybe it gives me that extra that I don't normally get in a Glenallachie. So this one definitely 15 years old. It is olorosso sherry, Pedro Jimenez sherry, and you know me, I'm hooked already by just Pedro Jimenez sherry, and when they put a little bit of a olorosso sherry maturation in it. So yes, I'm hooked already just by the name, and of course 15 years old, so a little bit older than the run-of-the-mill whiskies that you get nowadays. Seems that these whiskies that are no age statement whiskies that pops out everywhere at stupid, ridiculous prices. Now, sometimes it's always good to have a little bit of an older whiskey just to give it a nosing and a tasting. Cost about 75 euros here in Belgium for it. So definitely not a bad price on it, but we'll see if it will match the nosing and tasting. So the first thing, of course, it is Glenallachie. It's natural color, non-chill filtered, 46% ABV. As you can see, 15 years old. It's quite a nice amber color popping out on this one, and a little bit of a viscosity to it. There's a little clingy to the glass, a little bit of an oiliness to it. So, but of course, and it comes to that nose. And that nose, for me, I think that is something that just draws me to it. It's that friendliness of it, that darkness of the fruity notes coming out, that dried fruit component, that chocolate note. Now, if you pour it, give it a little bit of time in the glass. That there's a little bit of an ethanol note, that little alcohol note when you just pour it. But if you give it a couple of minutes in that glass, it just evaporates and it leaves you with that dark chocolate note. And I do like that. And I do like that fruity components, that fruity flavors, that dried fruit, a little bit of that apricot, that raisins coming out. And you get that lovely sweetness, that vanilla note goes to, for me, a little bit into a vanilla cream note that I get. And the more you smell it, that elevates that chocolate note and makes it even more sweeter with a little bit of time. Now it reminds me a little bit that trail mix. There's a nutty component to it, that raisin component to it, and then you get that little pieces of chocolate in it. And then I thought to myself, I've smelled this so many times already, especially with Glenallachie. If I take the 10-year-old cask strength, all of them, the same old, same notes. Only thing that differs is maybe the strength of the alcohol, maybe a little bit more of a chocolate note, and maybe a little bit sweeter, maybe a little bit darker. Some of them can get really dark already, so that means maybe a little wet cask going on there. I'm not so sure. But it feels like I'm stuck in a rut when it comes to some of the whiskies. Now, it's not a bad thing. I think if you drink so many different types of whiskies over the last 3 years, I think it's probably about 500 different whiskies that I've tried. And you get to a stage that you think you need a little bit of a reset. And I think that's something that Ralphie has been coining already, to reset the palate, reset the nose, maybe try something different, maybe try some beers, maybe try some whiskey, maybe try some vodka. I'm not going to be a vodka channel soon. But I think it is important that we sometimes just reset the palate and maybe look for something that challenges you, something that gives you a little bit of a feedback, something that will give you something to think about, something that is different, something that is strange. Maybe go outside of Scotch country and go visit more into the Taiwan whiskies. But yeah, it's becoming a little bit of a rant, I'm sorry. But the nose for me, it's really nice. It is a safe whiskey. It's a whiskey that I will tell anybody, go buy it, you're going to be happy with it. The peat lovers will like it, the non-peat lovers will like it, even the non-whiskey lovers will like it, especially on the nose. But of course the taste needs to justify what the nose is promising us. So on the taste, cheers. Absolutely fantastic. It's sweet, that fruity component, that dried fruit component, mixed with a little bit of a dark chocolate bits. You put a handful of that dried fruit in your mouth, you chew it, that sweetness that develops, that's something that you get in here. It is a sweet one. It is no mistaking that it is a sherry monster, sherry. If that is what you like, this is definitely one that you can try and you're not going to be disappointed. Now, 74, 75 euros in Belgium, probably much cheaper when you are. But definitely, for me, I'm not going to jump out and go buy a bottle of that. I have too many of these same type of whiskies on my bar. I need a challenge. I need something different. And maybe my subscribers can look at me and say, you need to try this one or you need to try that one. If you want something different, something strange, you need to try something. Now, one of my subscribers did send me a bottle of whiskey from Australia. Let me just see if I can get hold of it. Sorry about that. Now, that is something that I did like. Hilliers Road Distillery. This is an Australian whiskey. That for me was different. That was strange. That was like, I cannot put my finger on it. What is it? What's going on here? What am I smelling? What am I tasting? And 10-year-old. You can see I'm very slow on it. But that for me was something that gave me a little bit of a reset of the palate. And I think sometimes we need that. But this one, It is just lovely. It's safe, it's friendly, it's drinkable. Definitely something for the winter time to keep you nice and warm. One more try. There's a little bit of an oily component to it. That 40% is well behaved. There's a roundness to it. There's a tannin developing. I did expect there's going to be a little bit of a tannin. 15-year-old, and of course it's probably European oak. Just want to make sure. Definitely a little bit of a oakiness developing, that little bit of a bitter tannin coming through, and I think that's also a good idea because it is kind of a sweet whiskey. So yeah, it's lovely, safe, drinkable. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to buy a bottle of this one. I think there is too many whiskies out there that is begging me. Well, it's begging for my attention and maybe to reset the palate a little bit. So if you have a suggestion for me, what is a strange one for you? What is something that's completely different? What is something that is going to keep me busy for a day or two just to figure out what am I tasting? Well, leave a comment and give me a good suggestion. So that's me on the Glenallachie 15-year-old. Natural color, non-chill filtered, 46% ABV, ticking the boxes, but I'm not sure if it's ticking the boxes here in the head. I need a challenge. So thank you very much for watching, and of course, please remember to like, share, and subscribe and keep the channel going. Cheers.